Good morning, good morning. I had to do this video. I know it's gonna hurt a lot of fans of today's basketball fans, but back then, players took accountability and responsibility and they led the way. That's what made Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, and Jerry West, and so many others leaders. You know what I mean? Even though they all had different careers and different paths, but taking accountability and responsibility, it's what makes not only a player great, but also teams, knowing that they can accept their failures, their disappointments, their ups and downs. But let me go ahead and read. Accountability is the ownership of results, acting as the answerability for outcomes after they occur, while responsibility is the obligation or duty to perform tasks during a process. Responsibility can be shared and degraded. Accountability rests with one person to answer for the final result. Accountability means consequences. Responsibility means duties. And you see, you have the definition, which being accountable means you are ultimately responsible for an outcome, not just a task, and must answer to the results. Examples, and that's where y'all, a CEO, whatever, y'all can go off from there. But it's letting you know, if you are a player within a team, you're the best player in the team. Your coaches, your organization, your fans are, you know what I'm saying, seeing you as that member in the team that is responsible, that should own up to leadership and lead your team. And also, be there for your team when times get hard, when your back is pushed up against the wall and your team has no answer. The leader is the one that steps up. It's the one that takes care of the duties and takes care of the tasks in the process to be able to outcome and surpass whatever mission that they need to accomplish. It doesn't matter what, accomplishment you're trying to accomplish, what job, what career you have. You want to be the best of the best, or, you want to maintain yourself at a respectable level where people look at you, and especially yourself. You know what I mean? Being able to accept and be able to gravitate and elevate from big expectations, low expectations, but be there to finish the task and the mission that you are apprehending in or you trying to accomplish. Without it, you will never be able to accept failures, disappointments, and have a lack of responsibility and accountability. And you will be looked at as the jackass or just a plain simple crybaby, just like LeBron James and LeBron James fans, and also so many players of the NBA, what they have become. I have only seen LeBron James be accountable for one NBA Finals loss. The rest, he blames it on the team, he blames it on the organization, he blames it on the coaches, he blames it on role players. That's not accountability. You're not being responsible. You're not taking the lead to the task that you're trying to proceed. So in progress, what you're doing is dissecting yourself and pulling yourself away from facing these, consequences. And to be able to understand, it's like a matrix. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to take the real responsibility and consequences and repercussions. So you put yourself in this position to where if I can go ahead and pull myself out of this situation and blame it on others, then you know what? I'm not the problem no more. I'm going to look for scapegoats, just like he did to Russell Westbrook, just like he did to so many others, you know what I'm saying? Like Chris Bosh and so many others that play with Kevin Love. And the list just goes on and on and on. But as a leader, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and so many others, when they lost, when they gave disappointment performances, when they didn't come through, when they knew that they had to face consequences and repercussions from the media, from the fans. What did they do? They held their head up high. And they had these interviews, or they had these NBA conference interviews, and they admitted to their fault, to their disappointments, to their failures, because they are the leaders of their team. The team is what looks at them and says, yo, if we fail, it's because the leadership wasn't there. Us being pushed as being better teammates, to have confidence and to have better, you know what I'm saying, stability within ourselves and be more efficient and be better players, has to come from the leader, has to come from the man that leads the team, has to come from the man that everybody is looking at and saying, that's the player right there, that's that man, that's that motherfucker right there. Kevin Durant, which Skip Bayless calls Kevin Durant, and Mr. LeBron James, they have no leadership. When they see their backs against the wall, what do? They run, they switch teams. They cowardly quit on their team, and then they blame others. They look for a way out. Instead of embracing it, growing from it, being stronger, becoming wiser, acknowledging the fact what they do is exactly what this soft-ass, weak-ass modern era does. Look for a way to escape the consequences. Look for a way for it not to be their fault. But if you look back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, players that were the best players in their team, they took accountability. They pointed the finger at somebody else. So if you have a task that you must perform well, you will be congratulated and celebrated because you completed that mission with your team and your coach and your fans. But if you fail, don't point the finger at your team. Don't point the finger at anybody else to make an excuse so you won't be blamed for your bad performance or your zero dominance or just your intensity, your heart, your dedication wasn't there. And that's what today LeBron James has established, and basically
they do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang!
Throughout his career, just like Kevin Durant, he couldn't beat the Warriors. What does he do? Fuck him. If I can't beat him, might as well join him. That is a lack of unleadership. That is something that we never saw in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. The best wanted to compete the best. The best competitors wanted to match up with each other. Look what Charles Barkley said. When every time he had to play Michael Jordan, or he had to play Dominique Wilkins, or he had to play Clyde Drexler, or he had to play Patrick Ewing, or he had to play anyone that was considered a competitor. Michael Jordan, the same thing. Even till this day, Michael Bean in the NASCAR organization, he is a true competitor. Just like Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba, God bless his soul, a true competitor. Just like Allen Iverson. Look at Shaquille O'Neal, a fucking dominance monster, a beast. He wanted to compete the best. Just like David Robertson, just like Tim Duncan, just like all the greats that wasn't able to win championships, that were the leader of their teams. They had to take the responsibility and the blame for their fuck-ups, for their failures, and for their teams not to be able to finish and accomplish their task, what they were in the progress of doing. So what did they do? They faced the consequences. They faced the media. They faced their fans. They faced the disappointments with what? They heads held up high. Just like I look at Isaiah Thomas. The Bad Boy Pistons was one of the most meanest motherfucking defensive team and just a brutal of team that the NBA has ever seen. And just because Isaiah Thomas didn't accomplish what Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or Magic Johnson and so many others accomplished, he's a bitter person, still showing that same hate towards Michael Jordan. Why? Because when he walked out that fucking court, when the Bulls swept him in 1991, instead of being the leader of the team like he was, instead of shaking Michael Jordan's hands, he decided to walk away without shaking Michael Jordan's hand as in sportsmanship and say, you know what, great job. You did your thing. You finally did it. Michael, do your thing. He decided to walk out. And for years, Michael and Isaiah Thomas, Scottie Pippen and Isaiah Thomas and so many others have been bitter and have been not friends. But Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas were friends at first. You know what I'm saying? Dennis Rodman grew out of that problem with Michael Jordan. And look, he teamed up with the Bulls. And guess what? Dennis Rodman still gave Michael Jordan the respect because what? Michael Jordan's leadership. He will go hard on his team. He will go hard on his organization. He demanded for them to be better. He demanded for them to have confidence. He demanded for them to play better. He demanded for them to be more efficient. Just like Kobe Bryant. Let Kobe Bryant lose 5 or 6 games in a row. He will punch the shit out of his fucking team and say, bro, you gotta get the fuck out. That's what leadership does. That's what accountability and responsibility does. It puts you in a pedestal where, yo, if I don't set the example and if I don't lead by example, we're not gonna get nowhere. And me as the leader, I gotta also listen to my squad and my team. Because if I don't learn from them, then I'm gonna be able to take the consequences and disappointments and failures without them. That's what makes legends. That's what makes GOATs. That's what makes role players be better players to play with, more confidence, be more efficient, have more heart, have more dedication to going out there and give it all they got, even if they lose. I remember Kobe Bryant in the finals NBA conference. It was the NBA finals. I think they were playing the Boston Celtics, if I'm not mistaken. And one of the reporters said, why you not smiling, man? Why you not happy? Kobe Bryant said, the job is not done. We didn't win. What I need to smile about? Smile for what? The job is not completed. The accomplishment is not done. We still in the process of completing our task. So don't ask me to smile because we haven't won yet. That is the mentality of a leader. That's the mentality of a GOAT. That's the mentality of a player that not only is there going through it with his team, with his organization and fans, but that's a person that is taking the consequences and the fucking punches and is taking every jab and is taking every criticism to the heart, making it personal to go out there and be better of what he was the prior game that they just played. And I'm gonna tell you something, there's a lot of great players that never made it to the championship in their NBA career, and they took full responsibility for not being able to provide and be that leader as a leader, having that leadership to take their teams further within playoffs or the, semi-conference finals or even to the NBA finals. They, as a man, as a leader, and even being there at the worstest times of their careers, that they couldn't surpass or they couldn't beat a certain team, they were the ones that were in the front line. The first ones to defend their teams and the last ones to defend their teams, knowing that no matter what they did, they still had to face the criticism and face the abomination of what the media and everybody else was going to say about them. But guess what? They stood tall. That's what accountability and responsibility is all about. I'm going to tell you something. Me, myself, I had to grow up and be a man when I was a teenager and a young man. And I had to take accountabilities and responsibilities for my actions, for my wrongdoings, for my fuck-ups, for my mistakes. I had to outgrow from that mentality that, hey, let me stop being this person and learn how to be more responsible and how to be more of a wiser, to acknowledge the fact that not every day everything is going to go your way, and accept your failures and disappointments and ups and downs and the criticism that comes with it and just the bad progress of just consequences and repercussions that come along the way with it. That will make you a stronger and wiser person. And that's why I will always have Michael Jordan as the GOAT, man, when it comes to basketball. That's why I have Muhammad Ali as the greatest when it comes to boxing. You know what I mean? That's why when it comes to just knowing that when you feel that it's over for you because you've been through so many disappointments and failures in your life and you decide to quit and throw the fucking towel in because you can't take no more, that further lets you know how much of a bullshit quitter you are and how much of a loser you are. But if you stand up on 10 toes and fight your battles, win or lose, and still are able to stand on 10 toes with your head up high, you're a fighter, you're a warrior. You are learning and you are becoming a champion and being able to surpass and overcome every statistical of what it means not to quit, not to be a quitter, not to be a baby cry, not to be a complainer, and not to be a weak leader. It will expand you and it will take you into higher places, and it will only show why God gave you the life and the opportunity to be able to be walking on this planet Earth. If you're not ready for the tests and challenges in this life, and if you're not ready to accept downfalls and disappointments and failures like I have repeated already, then you know what? You shouldn't even belong in the same sentence as a fighter and a warrior and a champion. And I have been through it so much in my life. But taking accountability and responsibility is what elevated me and helped me to overcome and achieve accomplishments that I never thought that I was able to. And accepting the fact that if you can't admit to all your faults and everything that you did wrong in life and how these fucked up situations came upon, you will never be successful. And that's why I got the utmost biggest respect for the real Siberians. And I got the utmost biggest respect for so many others. And, so much respect for those that are around me that admitted, that accepted the fact that if you cannot overcome these obstacles and not be optimistic about them, and learn from them and become better, or not being that type of subject, you would never, ever have a peaceful or be in peace with yourself. Let that be an inspiration in your life. That's why, like I said, I respect the real Siberians and so many brothers and sisters that uplifted themselves to being in whatever situation. Our situations are not the same, but overcoming obstacles when you felt like life was over for you and you still being alive and breathing, let that be a blessing. Let that be a lesson from God. Don't question him or no doubt yourself, because if that was the case, if Michael, Kobe, Magic, Bird, and so many others questioned themselves, then they all would have been held accountable for quitting and cheating themselves into believing that they weren't going to be great. But you know what? God had other plans for all these magnificent players. And a lot of other players that I did not mention, even those that didn't win championships. So my advice to everyone is, if you know your life is hitting downward, or you in a sports, baseball, basketball, football, boxing, and you going through your ups and downs, and you going through your disappointments and failures, train yourself, train your body, train your mind, train your mentality. Stay focused and keep your head above water. Because when you do so, your success is just a touch away. But you just can't think and say, I'm just gonna get what I want because that's what I want. No, you have to work hard for it. You have to dedicate yourself. You have to put yourself through everyday struggles and trials and tribulations to be able to get to that goal. Exactly what Michael, Kobe, Bird, Magic, Will, Jerry, and every athlete of any kind of different sport, or in any sport, that is a great or a legend, or even just an average player that decided to join these different sports and dedicated their lives to becoming or being better. Not everybody's going to be the greatest. Not everybody's going to be the GOAT. Not everybody's going to be a legend player. Not everybody's going to make it to the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? But if you know you gave it your all and you did your best, that's taking responsibility and accountability. And that's what makes the difference. And that's why I always will say, thanks to all the greats in basketball that took accountability and responsibility for the disappointments, failures, actions, mistakes, fuck-ups, but more importantly, that's what made them the legends that they are and always will be when it comes to the eye test, to humans themselves, and also those that know them, respect them, dislike them even, or watch them build their legacy and their greatness. This is your boy Chico Black. Y'all leave y'all comments down below and we'll go from there, man. Y'all enjoy y'all day. I'll be doing more videos during the day, but I felt like I had to drop this one. But y'all let me know what time it is and we'll go from there, man. Peace.